Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being with us here on KXAN Live. I'm Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN Live studio, and we're showing you this live look back behind me here of a gorgeous day shaping up out there in Austin. This afternoon, we're going to be focusing our conversation, though, here on our live stream on a simple health matter. Every Friday, we usually try to bring you some information that we think maybe will help you live a happier and healthier life. And today is no exception because the topic we're going to be discussing is stress, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with out there. But this is really geared toward parents. A warning came out from the U.S. Surgeon General about parents facing a dangerous level of stress. And really quickly, again, the U.S. Surgeon General is out with this urgent message on mental health and well-being. His message is targeted to parents, highlighting the urgent need to better support parents, caregivers, and families to help our communities thrive. Here to tell us more a little bit about that is one of our producers here at KXAN. That is Jose Torres. Jose, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Will.
This is a bit of a departure from some of the other stories we've shared, but I think this is good information to get out there with everybody. So remind us about this advisory that the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, put out there somewhat recently.
He sent this out last week, and what piqued my interest is that he said parents are facing dangerous levels of stress. And he says he understands it because he's a father of two, and he says that being a dad is the toughest and most rewarding job he's ever had. So he understands the stress parents and caregivers face, and he says that stress can sometimes be passed along to children directly or indirectly. So here's what he noted in his advisory. He said 41% of parents say most days they are so stressed that they can't even function. 48% say their stress is completely overwhelming compared to other adults. And the Surgeon General says part of the solution, to combat this dangerous level of stress, as he put it, include policy changes like time off for work, to give parents the time to take care of their children if they're sick. Another recommendation is affordable childcare and mental health resources. So he's calling for those policy changes that will help parents with this.
Yeah, and as we're, again, looking towards some of those policy changes that his advisory puts out there, you took a look, Jose, at what are some of the recommendations to be able to address some of this and maybe some things for people to keep in mind.
Yeah, and this can apply to anyone. You don't have to be a parent or a caregiver. This applies to anyone. So the recommendations the CDC is putting out there is eat healthy, natural foods and try to avoid processed foods. You want to eat those natural foods because those foods can sustain your energy levels instead of making you sluggish. When you compared to the processed foods that are out there. Make an appointment to pamper yourself, and that could be anything that helps you relieve stress. If that is reading a book, if that is maybe painting, going for a walk, listening to music, just block out 30 minutes, maybe an hour, shut everything down, go to your safe space, or your quiet space, and then just take that time, whether 30 minutes or an hour. Another one, and I think this is probably one of the most important messages out there for everyone, is to make sure to connect with others. Talk to your friends, talk to other parents, reach out. Because the Surgeon General also noted that sometimes parents feel guilt and shame about not being able to cope with stress, so they isolate and they don't talk to anyone. So his message is and I think everyone can agree with this, is just reach out to people, because you'll never know what another parent or another friend is facing, and maybe you can both talk about what works for both of you.
Yeah, that is good advice for all of us to follow too. And what this advisory did that the Surgeon General put out there is it also identified some of these stressors that can build up in parents' lives in particular. So for the moms and dads out there, and I just wanted to highlight these really quickly. Some of those stress makers include, managing social media. There's an increasing youth mental health crisis. So parents dealing with those issues with their own children or young people around them. Again, the epidemic of loneliness, as Jose just mentioned there, this is not only impacting the young people, but older generations as well. And of course, there are financial worries out there. So a lot of people may say, this is maybe not that surprising, but it is interesting that the Surgeon General is highlighting this so that potentially to raise more awareness for it and push for some of these policy recommendations that he put out there too.
And it may be hard to be vulnerable and reaching out to people, but if you can just take that step and reach out to a friend or whoever that person might be, or a resource center, a lot of weight will be lifted off of your shoulders. And again, that goes for anyone, a parent, a caregiver, a young adult or an older adult.
Yeah, this is such important information and just a good reminder for everybody out there. So I'm glad we're highlighting this. And if anybody would like to read a little bit more about what Dr. Vivek Murthy put out there in his advisory to parents, you can read it on our website at kxan.com. He also, a few months ago, issued an advisory and a warning about gun violence being an epidemic. And I looked in particularly into that and some of the recommendations that were put out in his report, how organizations here in Austin are actually implementing some of those and are seeing some good results. So that's all available at kxan.com. But Jose, again, I just wanted to highlight, every Friday we come on here to share some simple health information, whether it's about someone's actual health or financial well-being, physical well-being, all kinds of different things. You've highlighted a number of these stories, so remind people where they can find those too.
You can go to kxan.com, look for the Simple Health tab, and just click there and you'll see some of my stories there.
It is a good resource and so many inspiring stories that Jose has brought us. And I know you're working on even more coming forward, right?
Yeah, there's so many great stories. There's a story of a young man who faced testicular cancer twice. And then on top of that, he started losing his vision at 6. So he has an amazing story to tell, and I'll be working on that and sharing that story with you soon.
Yeah, that's everybody. That is a good tease for a story that we hope will inspire you and give you some inspiration. So, Jose Torres, we're going to send you back out so you can help prepare our newscast for later tonight. And I appreciate you as always being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, that is Jose Torres. I'm Will Dupree. We'll see you back here another time. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. The weather's going to be great, too. We have details about that on kxan.com as well. See you later. Enjoy the rest of the night.